Artificial intelligence versus divine intelligence. Does God exist? Hey everyone, welcome. My name is Pascalis. This channel aims to present objective and non-religious arguments in a logical and easily understandable series of episodes regarding the possible existence of a creator whom we humans call God. It is the exposition of a point of view which is intended to confirm whether this way of thinking is correct or not. For this, I rely on the help of those who watch the episodes to the end by entering their opinions or questions in the comments field. The correct way to evaluate the episodes is to watch them in sequential order, from 1st to 12th. Watching in a random order does not favor the understanding of the arguments. The order in which this topic is explored is the order in which the episodes should be watched to get the most out of them. This sequence will be as follows. First episode, does God exist? Why should we care about it? Second episode, countdown. Time. Third, bus, past. Fourth episode, domino. Someone is necessary. Fifth, evidence, intelligence. Sixth, supposing God really exists, and so what? Seventh, user instructions manual. Eighth, the only manual that meets all the requirements. Ninth, who is God? 10th, what does God really want from us? 11th, is there any true religion? Which is it? 12th and last episode, if God really exists, what does the future hold for us? For collective benefit, any doubts or questions will be commented on in separate videos after the 12th episode. Preferably, watch the episodes in full screen and using headphones. Thank you everyone in advance, and if anyone knows something better, please let me know. Fifth episode, does God exist? Evidence, intelligence. In the previous episodes, we saw the importance of the possibility of God's existence. We have also seen that the retrogression of events in time in the direction of the past cannot be infinite, making a primary cause, which was not caused by any other cause, necessary for everything that culminated in our existence today to have begun to exist. In this episode, we will examine some simple examples from our daily lives that point to the existence of an intelligent creator. If we found a beautiful house in the middle of the desert, stocked with food, air conditioning, and comforts of every kind, would we conclude that it grew there by accident, without a purpose and on its own? Did it simply evolve from sand due to the action of winds, sun rays, lightning, and sporadic rain? It's probably not what we would infer. Based on logic, we would know for sure that the house was built by someone, even though it's in a remote place, such as the desert. The same can be said about our planet. Located in a vast universe, desert as far as we know, Earth is the only planet that has an abundance of food, a pleasant climate, a vast variety of life, and comforts of all kinds. Wouldn't it be reasonable to conclude that our planet was designed and created by someone gifted with intelligence and resources, with a purpose in mind? Let's consider another example that leads us to a similar conclusion. On a desert island, if we were to see a heart carved into the trunk of a tree with the following 13 letters inside, John loves Mary, would any sane person believe that no one was responsible for this, and that the action of sea waves, sun, lightnings, winds, and rains over millions of years was what carved this declaration of love? I don't think so. Because it is a message with a meaning which never appears by chance, but always comes from an intelligent being. We would logically conclude that people have already been on this island, and that someone carved this beautiful statement into the tree. The same can be said about the genetic code in all living things, the deoxyribonucleic acid, known as DNA. DNA is essentially a recipe for how, when, and where to form every part of a human, an animal, a plant, a bacterium, and anything else that has life. This molecule is made up not just of 13 letters carved into a tree, but of over 3.5 billion letters of the genetic code, all in the exact place and in the correct order, so that, like an encyclopedia, it can define what everything is, how it is, when, how big, and where. Everything should be in living beings. Could a gigantic encyclopedia with more than 3.5 billion letters, all in the right position, so the text makes sense, be the result of an accidental explosion in a printing press? In practice, this would be impossible. As in the case of a declaration of love carved into a tree, DNA leads us to the conclusion that it was invented, designed, and created by an intelligent being with a purpose in mind. But then, however, someone could object, saying,
possibly, yes. Someone building a house or carving a message into a tree I have seen. What I have never seen is someone creating a universe out of nothing with a perfect planet like ours and intelligent beings on it. That is what makes it hard for me to believe that someone created all this. Built houses and written declarations of love, I know, because I have seen them done. However, the creation out of nothing of universes and genetic codes is not part of my daily life. Creating such complex and grandiose things out of nothing, as if by magic, is not something I have ever seen happen.
is it more logical that, as if by magic, a soup of chemical elements turned into conscious beings? As you realize, both versions are speculations, a matter of faith, because there are no eyewitnesses to the whole creation. Think. What makes biogenetically more sense? that your great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-grandfather was someone, or that he was a soup. Which conclusion most closely matches the evidence? Placing your faith in which of the two possibilities makes you more vulnerable to fall victim to a deceptive scam? This is a serious matter. A lot is at stake. Life itself is at stake in what each person believes. Our beliefs influence and are expressed in our behavior, and this determines the harvest in our lives. But anyway, okay. So let's see a different example. Searching for any signs of extraterrestrial intelligent life, astronomical and government agencies have built a network of radio telescopes around the world, which monitor the universe 24 hours a day. How do you think they would interpret a repeating signal coming from space like this? 1 beep, pause. 2 beeps, pause. 3 beeps, pause. 4 beeps, pause. 5 beeps, pause. 6 beeps, pause. 7 beeps, pause. 8 beeps, pause. 9 beeps, pause. 10 beeps. Would not they interpret this as a sign of some intelligent source? Wouldn't it be more logical to conclude that this form of signal can exclusively come from an intelligent mind, rather than believing that it is simply stellar noise or meaningless astral interference? Okay, so then what can we say about vision in living creatures? Isn't this an indication of design, which can only come from an intelligent mind? Two eyes that, without us realizing it, make thousands of trigonometric calculations per second to identify which object is closer than another. Would it be more logical to conclude that vision arose by chance? Would it not be more logical and natural to conclude that someone far superior to us, who existed before the creation of vision, was responsible for the complexity of the project and for its execution? What can we conclude about the human brain? About human consciousness? What is the nature and substance of consciousness? Where did it come from? Is consciousness in the brain or in the mind? Who commands whom? Consciousness or brain? And what should we conclude about the reproductive system? Here is where things get interesting. How did a single-celled creature capable of self-reproduction turn into creatures that reproduce only through male-female copulation? Which evolved first, the male or the female? If either gender evolved first, how did it continue to reproduce until the other gender evolved? Why would the male evolve the organs to produce sperm and deliver it if the female was not ready to receive it? Why would the female evolve all the equipment to receive sperm and generate a baby if the male did not yet exist? Why? Perhaps some people don't know, but there's a lot of biology involved in both genders. If the two sexes evolved separately, where did this perfect match in physical pleasure come from, so that reproduction depends on both? If, on the other hand, the two genera evolved simultaneously, how did they reproduce over millions of years before they both reached evolutionary maturity so that they could finally begin to reproduce through copulation? Who thinks this happened by accident? Scientists and atheists in general force themselves to say, yes, it was by accident, because they don't want God to tell them what to do. As for the hearing, what can one say? Which evolved first, the hearing system or the brain? If it were the brain, for what purpose and usefulness toward the survival of the fittest, if there were still no auditory, visual, or olfactory signals yet to decipher? If hearing evolved first, what was the destination of the electrochemical impulses for interpretation, since the brain did not yet exist? Could this be the product of millions of years of evolution through random mutations and spontaneous variations? Or would it be more reasonable to believe that these complex works of art, which compose a set of organs with synchronized and interactive action among themselves, high performance in a package as compact as the human body, is a clear indication of design and creation? Think. What is your opinion about one last example? Astronauts on the unseen from Earth far side of the moon found out a complex of underground buildings with machines made of unknown to us humans exotic materials. Having the astronauts reported the discovery to their superiors, do you think it would be reasonable for the mission leader to say,
"If the responsible for this construction does not come forward to me, producing evidence that all of these was his creation, I prefer to believe that this complex of buildings and machinery probably evolved spontaneously, by chance, without intention or purpose."
would it not be more reasonable for the mission leader to conclude,
well, even without knowing by whom, when, and for what purpose these were built, surely someone was responsible for these constructions. So, let's investigate, trying to find the answers.
our planet, the DNA of living creatures, the complexity and interdependence of the organs of the human body, the traces of intelligence and purpose that we have around us, the precision of the laws of physics that govern the vastness of this universe, etc., etc. To believe that all of this is the product of blind chance, and furthermore, to disagree with those who, based on common sense, argue the opposite, is like believing that the same thing happened to this video. No one did the editing, no one produced it, no one wrote the script with the arguments, nor in what order to present them, and there is no responsible for it. This series of episodes regarding the existence or non-existence of God is the result of the evolution of nothing, the script of which was formed by unintentional typing errors, which over millions of years accumulated and combined randomly, constituting the script of these episodes. How does that sound to you according to your critical thinking skills, my friend? The argument goes like this. First premise: whatever began to exist, that is, had a beginning, necessarily had a cause. Second premise: the universe at a certain point in time came into being or had a beginning, because as we saw in episodes 2 to 4 of the series, an imaginary regression of events in time towards the past is impossible to be infinite. Therefore, since it is impossible for the universe to be eternal, in order to be created, there must have been a cause. A cause or a causal agent, independent of the universe and the laws of physics that govern it regarding space, time, and matter. The laws of physics cannot have been the primary cause of the creation of everything that exists out of nothing. The laws of physics are simply post-observation patterns of chemical reaction behavior, which explain the phenomena we see. But these laws have no will or disposition to anything, and therefore cannot devise or create something without pre-existing matter or energy. Moreover, the laws of physics were not created by science, but merely discovered and formulated by it. Just like the laws of the state, the laws of physics presuppose a legislator who cannot be ignored, despised, and dismissed as non-existent. Understanding the theory of relativity does not make irrelevant Albert Einstein. A master's degree in science and a PhD on quantum physics does not mean that Max Planck never existed. Just like the in-depth knowledge of the 3 laws of motion and the law of universal gravitation does not prove that Isaac Newton was a mere product of a popular myth. This conclusion does not depend on irrelevant and currently unanswered questions such as, where is this creator of the universe now? Or what was his origin? At present, this is not the issue under consideration. The truth is that I don't have much knowledge about God. What I do know is that, for now, God is the best, the simplest, the most logical, and the explanation that makes the most sense for everything we see to exist. This is something that we see every day in this world. Everything is made by someone and has some cause of existence. As one of the greatest lawyers who ever lived put it, for God's wrath is being revealed from heaven against all ungodliness and unrighteousness of men, who are suppressing the truth in an unrighteous way. Because what may be known about God is clearly evident among them, for God made it clear to them, for his invisible qualities are clearly seen from the world's creation onward, because they are perceived by the things made, so that they are inexcusable. Of course, every house is constructed by someone, but the one who constructed all things is God. In the next episode, we will consider some of the implications and consequences of the very possible existence of God. And if anyone knows something better, please let me know. Because the wise change their mind. The fools never. Bye and see you again in the next episode. Until then, be well, everyone.